Sneaky can play Jhin against it. Renegades is having none of that, so Cloud9 probably bans Kalista on the other side.
Recognized right away. The Lulu's going to come out next. You see a little smirk there on their face. Knowing the Sneaky now can draw that ban, maybe of use once they start to realize more teams will do it. Twisted Fate, and then there's the Kalista.
We can't have any fun within Sugar. Like, well, maybe they're going to do this counter pick that'll allow this pick. No, we're just going to ban all of it. Who cares? And they're banning Lee Sin. All the excitement is gone. Thank you very much, Renegades. The killers of fun.
Sucked it right out of the room. Nidalee gets taken out as well. A lot of champions that have a high mechanical skill cap actually banned out of this game, and they're going to get the Graves on the other side. A little power in the first pick.
Yeah, so I mean, just kind of wrapping our heads around this really quick ban phase. They banned away two very powerful junglers. Many teams would be willing to first pick the Nidalee, but because Kalista was already banned, it's kind of a trade back and forth. Corki's another champion that gets first picked fairly frequently. Renegades chose not to do that because they're probably locking down the Graves in the top lane for Seraph. Yeah. He backdoored the Nexus essentially for Renegades' win over Team Dignitas in Week 7. Very important for them to first pick them, getting their new acquisition, his comfort pick. But at the same time, it leaves some very powerful choices for Cloud9 on the backside.
You see the bans. We heard Sneaky just talk about the mechanics, and the ban from CLG was Nidalee, Twisted Fate, Kog'Maw. You kind of get a jungler, the Twisted Fate, and another AD carry. But that leaves that Kog up if Sneaky actually wants to go for it. Still, like you said, those power picks around the board. Gragas, Corki have been picked up on the side of Cloud9. Already looking good in that sense. What will Crumbz and Ninja decide to take? 16 seconds on the clock. Elise, and does Ninja pick for himself?
Yeah, Crumbz has played a fair bit of Elise this split.
Be scary to blind pick, so he doesn't.
Yeah,
he has.
Well, here's the thing. Renegades has just picked Braum. So with Lulu off the board, that is one of the best protectors for Kog'Maw if they did want to pick it in the last little bit. But I think they want to know a little bit more about Cloud9's team comp before they do that. Freeze always has, you know, Draven in his back pocket as well if he really wanted to play that. Very versatile AD carry. So they have a lot of options here still. See if Cloud9 decides to go with some power picks here.
See how high his last plays are. Still has that Alistar in if they want to keep safe. And they do go something scary for a pick. Morg is also up. Haven't seen that in a few plays. Week 7. I guess the first day of Week 7 it did come in. And the Trundle actually gets picked up for that top lane.
All right, so they are saving their mid lane for final pick, which makes a lot of sense. They've opted not to go for Gangplank with the nerfs. Gangplank has definitely fallen from about 100% pick ban down to 61% pick ban across most of the major regions. So they decided to go with Trundle top lane, who's kind of creeping up in priority since we're seeing more tanks in the top lane. But this game in particular, it will be against Graves, which then makes it more of just a teamfight pick. I'm wondering if Balls is going to struggle in lane with that against Seraph's Graves. Of course, the Morgana is just for High's comfort. It's his most played support this year now.
What will be the answer from Renegades? Like they said, this is for improvement. They take the Kog'Maw, and they have a Zilean as well for Ninja in the mid lane. I guess we could expect that from Ninja. He likes to get some crazy plays in sometimes. His varying pool that we had seen in the TDK season.
Yeah, well, the thing with Ninja is he actually wasn't able to play with TDK at all during Challenger. It's one of the reasons they made the trade in their announcement is because TDK wanted Alex Siege for the playoffs, and then they gave Ninja kind of so they could get access to Alex early, it felt like. So Ninja, it'll be kind of his debut here. Very talented player. Played with Team WE, and he's been bouncing around a lot of different teams as well. So, yeah, Zilean into whatever Jensen wants to pull into it, and the protection to allow Kog'Maw to kind of flash in and get revived.
I wonder if Jensen branches out here. He's been quite strong in past weeks. Had a LeBlanc 2 in a row for Week 7, and it's going to be the Varus for the mid lane. Put a little bit more AD in this composition since it was actually looking at mostly AP.
Yeah, and Varus is a pick that's really been sneaking up in overall priority in the recent patches. Specifically, Victor was kind of the most picked wave clear mid. He only lost about 20 damage on his E, but it almost feels like Varus is filling some of that mid lane space with the tremendous wave clear. It makes sense in this particular team comp because they have so much magic damage from the Corki. Now they're having a very diversified threat of magic and physical damage, as well as just being able to completely shove out the lane. I'm excited to see Jensen's take on Varus, who Varus as a champion has been incredibly high priority in the LCK as of late.
Looks like we got the double TP coming in from Renegades to start this one off. We'll see how the Varus kind of AD composition for that mid lane comes in for Cloud9. It's surrounded with quite a bit of AP in that Gragas, Corki, Morg. It's going to be an awesome one to start off week 8 here. Almost finished off with the spring split. And as we load into game, give these teams your energy by tweeting at LOL Esports with the hashtag RENWin or the hashtag C9Win. We'll see which team has the biggest spirit bomb in just a few minutes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Waiting for Aurelion Soul to come out so we can get those giant stuns coming out of the base.
Halfway down, all the way down the field. All right, we're about to jump into match. Let's get it going. Renegades versus Cloud9, about to be on the Rift. Renegades here, strictly really looking to improve, looking to figure out where this composition, or where this team can go and how far they can take it into the next split. Cloud9 really looking to get a hold on that second to first place.
Yeah, and I'm going to be looking early in this game to see how the lane swap goes and how heavily Balls' Trundle could get starved out against Seraph's Graves, because that'll be one of the big stories early on here. Cloud9 will want to be able to set up some pretty strong poke later, so they will be prioritizing most likely mid and bottom lane farm. It'll be an interesting thing to see how Seraph can impact the game versus how Jensen and Sneaky can impact the game.
Always an eye from him for sure. We said it last time, he might be the one to pull something out of his hat, backdoor the Nexus to get the game for the team, and also has such an impact that he kind of draws the team he's playing against up top. He figures out a way to cause enough trouble to get the jungler up there more than not. So if Rush actually has to stay topside, it may kind of prevent that farmed mid and bottom. A lot of work here for Renegades. Let's see if they can get themselves ahead in the early game. They play very well once they do. They can hold that lead. But if they don't grab the lead, it usually just falls down from there.
Yeah, Renegades has had pretty poor mid to late game. Cloud9 has also had a pretty tremendously strong early game. As we were talking about just before the show, 1,500 plus average goal lead to 50 minutes for Cloud9. And 86% of the time, they're also able to get the first dragon. So a lot of times teams would have to trade dragon for gold, so to speak, in the early game, but Cloud9 has been fairly consistently getting both.
Moving in, looks like they will trade eventually. Oh, bottom seems quite interesting. Hakuho and Freeze start to move in here alone. They'll be all right. They're just going to be backed off. Rush obviously knows they can't do too much in the early game. They got to start on that experience. They got to find a way to go. So Renegades, they're pretty nice here. We'll see if it pays off for what Crumbz can start to do after this is over.
Yeah, one-man invade from Renegades on the blue side of Cloud9, two-man invade for Cloud9 on the blue side. We're seeing a lot of different starts in these lane swaps. Teams used to kind of always start at Gromp, but then you'd see too many invades of the support and the AD carry. So some teams started beginning at Wolves and then it's moving down.
Yep.
But then if you begin at Wolves, you see stuff like what Cloud9 just did, where they take the two small blue buff minions, which gives them half of the experience of the entire camp, which is still very beneficial. And now we're just transitioning that into a fast push. So slightly different starts, but the overall result is pretty similar.
Sneaky wanting, or sorry, Jensen rather, wanting to get that damage in, but you can see him moving the bombs off the minions. So it doesn't push that wave too much. He wants to keep it right in the middle of the lane so he has time to attack Ninja, but not be in a dangerous spot. They get double stunned there. Looks like he's only had to use one potion there, Biscuits for Ninja, so he should be able to keep throwing out the bombs.
Yeah, it's the main way that Zilean can surprise his lane opponent is if he double bombs a minion for the kill, then the enemy laner can get caught in the stun range, which is what happened right there. That becomes much more dangerous around level 7 and 9 when you're getting 4 to 5 points into your Q. As of now, though, like you can see, the bomb trade for an auto attack and a Q is actually kind of favorable for the Varus.
Level up on that. Just waiting. Here we see the... Ooh. All right. So he is going to be running. Jensen, running that grass.
Deathfire touch.
Or touch thing.
Yeah, sorry, Deathfire touch on Jensen.
Couldn't get the word.
And then we also see Warlord's Bloodlust on Seraph's Graves.
Yep.
This is a build that's kind of evolved a little bit. We got to see it in NA Challenger as well. It's kind of lifesteal crazy. You go Death's Dance first item with Warlord's Bloodlust, and then you also will get a Maw of Malmortes at some point. So when you're really late in the game on Graves, you get absolutely insane lifesteal. because if you're like point blanking and you're getting 3 or 4 pellets
Right.
on one person, you can lifesteal up to like 2x what you would expect to lifesteal with your AD, and your health bar is just crazy.
and
It's
Seraph-
very hard to kill.
Seraph's the guy to know how to push that boundary as well, kind of push his champion to the limit. All right, a play up top. There's going to be the teleport in from Seraph. He was just in the bot lane. Looks like that pressure's lost now, but they're under rush. This looks like it could be first blood, and it actually is going to go over to Hakuho. So steal a little gold out on that one. Sneaky gets hit. There's the concussive blows. It does not connect for the final tap, and High is able to get out alive as well after putting down a soil for a little deterrent. But good hit by Renegades. The early lead could be there for them. It's 800 for now. See how they push it.
And I think it was a fairly disrespectful flank there by Cloud9. They went for a gank, and they weren't willing to support it with the teleport, and they didn't necessarily have full vision on everyone else, whereas they can get matched by double teleports onto Renegades. So they do burn everything from Renegades, technically. They burn the double TP, and all 5 people go off top. But Cloud9 kind of left it indefensible, and they're not pushing out the other 2 lanes, so it's mainly just a loss. Now they're trying to defend 2v3.
Not so much focus on the turret. They were trying to push off Cloud9, so Renegades doesn't get away with too much more than the kills, but good enough for now. See, they set back up in their lanes. 38 to 44. Jensen's winning that one. He's been playing quite well, so we may be able to provide for the team here once they get a pick or a quick skirmish. Renegades is going to transfer this over into a Rift Herald now. Probably go over to Crumbz on this. Just be power farming in the jungle for now.
Yeah, and this has been a solid start for Renegades with the first Rift Herald. And, you know, we did talk about how Cloud9 has the second best early game, essentially, to Immortal in the LCS. Well, despite having the worst record in the LCS, Renegades' early games have been pretty average, actually, like a middle-of-the-pack team. In fact, in over half of their games, they have a gold lead at 20 minutes. They just haven't been able to transition those into wins. So it's actually another strong early game for Renegades, even with the new acquisitions of Ninja and Seraph. But good start. We'll see how they can play off of that now.
So with an idea of a gold lead, saying they just have a decent gold lead at 20, what's kind of their objective at that point if they have a lead with this composition?
Yeah, well, this one is a fairly tankless composition, so a lot of it would be around forcing team fights around objectives or sieging up turrets and baiting someone to engage them. Zilean has very good pressure at turrets with double bombs, and if Cloud9 wants to force an initiation, they would then have Freeze as Kog'Maw. So it's actually relatively tricky because they have all squishy targets, but I'd expect some type of split push pressure from Seraph or a siege up with the Zilean and the Kog'Maw.
Towards the mid lane, Jensen could be in trouble, but he's hugging that top side, so he should be safe. No, the double stun there. Very scary for Jensen. He gets himself out alive, throws down the Potion of Corruption, looks to end Ninja. The burn won't be enough to take him down either, but very close. Both summoners from Jensen to get himself out alive.
Yeah, and the majority of his health. Meanwhile, Crumbz is in the mid lane with Rift Herald minions, so Rush is going to have to use as much as he can to farm this out, but it is a cannon wave. I'm surprised, actually, Renegades didn't stick around for more turret damage. That was a golden opportunity for some. Instead, Jensen just chugs his corruption potions, and he's actually going to be able to stay in lane.
Gonna be good. Good on him for waiting after the cocoon, the double stun to hit, so he didn't kind of get locked up between the 2 CCs. Playing smart there. He is a very big target now, though, for that to happen once again. It didn't cost Renegades much to go for that gank, so it could happen very easily. Just a few minutes later, Renegades, we still see them going for more plays, trying to pressure this advantage. Seraph to grab Scuttle and can keep going bottom. Remember, teleports down for just a few more here. So when those come up, there could actually be a play here on Balls.
Yeah, but speaking of the play that happened earlier, Balls has a massive CS advantage over Seraph, and that's because...
Very true. Good eye.
Seraph, when he was pushing the top lane earlier, and the teleport top lane, which led to the first blood, it left Balls with a massive minion wave, which he actually did not immediately try and shove. He froze it for a long while. So this whole time, he's actually just been slowly farming on Trundle to accumulate that advantage, gets an early Tiamat, that will turn into a Titanic Hydra later. And this is exactly what a Trundle wants in the early game. Trundle's pretty bad in the first 4 levels if you're trying to teleport and have immediate impact, but if you get the time to farm up for Titanic Hydra and Iceborne Gauntlet, that is when Trundle becomes an absolute menace in lane and in team fights, and that's actually where Balls' Trundle is on the path of going.
He's been kind of stepping up more and more this season. We saw his Fiora game where he was so big he wasn't able to do much, and then his next game where he did a hell of a lot. And now he's able to sit on his own in situations where he'd kind of be down in CS like Seraph is here and not be able to do much for the team. He's the one up. He's the one providing. And it seems like the team is actually playing around that a lot better as well. Top lane, we saw them get teleported on. Cloud9 made a mistake. That's where we saw Renegades grab first blood. But they've able to stave off the kill on Jensen now. And holding steady. Bottom lane's going to be the target here for Cloud9. Ball's back to the top lane. Looks like he'll be able to protect that turret quite easily. I don't know, 3v1, we will see.
Yeah, and Hakuho actually has stayed on the map for most of this early game. He's sitting on 1,600 gold, so even though he got first blood, he wasn't first to Sightstone. So it's not like Renegades is getting a huge vision advantage because of that first blood.
I was going to say, they're not doing this with much vision, so that is also scary. Maybe the reason for not going on Jensen harder earlier, but this will work out for them. The outer turret, the only one now up, is going to be the mid lane. And with their focus, they can pretty easily push this team off a turret. Jensen just kind of firing the arrows.
Delayed turret trade,
Yep.
Sneaky and high with the backup of Rush in the bottom lane. 3 men in the top as well.
Nice bounce.
Once again, just kind of a difference of where the top laners are going. Balls is sticking around for the wave to crash into his turret, whereas Seraph is still kind of double jungling a bit, but now he's got ultimate. They're going to go for Jensen.
I like what Renegades is
got
doing.
Rens.
Every time they rotate, they're taking the jungle of Cloud9 and then trying to take the members of Cloud9. Successful on that attempt. We said they're going to be going back for Jensen. He's a big target, and it goes to Seraph this time.
I'm actually really surprised that when Jensen got hit by that cocoon, he didn't immediately cleanse and continue on his path of retreat, but instead, he eats the stun, allows Renegades to catch up, and then tries to double back towards high and rush. Maybe he thought he'd be last minute saved by a Black Shield and just made a small miscalculation. But the flash cocoon ends up paying off for him. He just goes immediately, cleanse right there, run. I think he thought Ninja was going to catch him anyway, so he decided to double back, but yeah, he's pretty dead by the time he decides to double back because his flash was still down. And a second successful kill for Renegades.
Yeah, really working off of those. A lot of times you'll see that fizzle out from the opponent team and they kind of won't come back for the flash down. Very nicely played there. And they continue to grow a lead, now looking at about 800 in their favor. 4 more minutes, it's around that stat that Cloud9 has, the 1,500 lead. 2 turrets still aside. Mid lane's going to get a bit of focus now for those to go down. As right now, it looks like a big push down towards the bottom lane. Could get a little bit of love towards Dragon here in a second.
Yeah, 12 minutes into the game, but we would be in position for potentially a Dragon Brawl. Balls has his teleport, as does Seraph. So, like you said, it could be a full 5v5.
That'd be interesting. I mean, Cloud9 would probably say, okay, we'll ward, stand on the outside, and just throw in all of our poke until it looks like a good fight for us. And it may start off looking pretty bad here. Double bomb's going to do some decent damage. Jensen has some potions to chug, but I'm sure he would have loved to do without that.
Yeah, a little bit of a delay on his build as well. Has to go early Hex Drinker instead of completing his Manamune early, which a lot of mid lane Varus like to do. Oh, and he whiffs the ultimate.
Sun was in his eyes, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens?
Hey, Ninja's pretty quick. He can use the move speed just a little bit wide left.
Yeah. You see a lot of those Varus ultimates go wide. Got to be able to hit those. It is huge when you do. Huge when you don't.
A little concerning for Cloud9 as well. We see a Sightstone coming out from Rush with a challenging smite on Gragas. A very peculiar combination. Most of the time we just see Tracker's Knife on Gragas. Straight into something like an Iceborne Gauntlet or tank items. So he's going to have a kind of a later power turn on now that he's gone Sightstone. Cloud9, coming into this game, had the lowest wards placed of North American LCS teams and also the lowest wards cleared. So they haven't necessarily been a team that plays around vision. They just brute force and overpower you. But now with the Sightstone, they're lowering their ability to brute force and overpower and are instead going for a more vision game. But they're already down in gold, so it makes it even harder to now win the team fights. Kind of going against their style that they had been successful with in a lot of this game with some of these early choices.
Phoenix are playing very slow compared to what they used to do. Rush very much more lax in all of his play of this game. 65 to 55, even though Crumbz got that Rift Herald, was able to kind of crush through the front.
Crumbz is ahead of Rush in CS. How often did we think we were going to say that?
Right.
As far as averages go, I'm full of stats today, I don't know why. Rush is the most farmed jungler in North America. Crumbz is towards the bottom, but it's been switched in this game.
Oh, maybe a little miscommunication there. No, the teleport were to come in. Balls is there. Is this going to be? It is Zilean.
Oh, wrong way.
Speed up to hit. Oh, that's going to hit Crumbz right towards him, and that's Balls going down all this farm. All of it for naught. He falls down, and Cloud9 again on the back foot of trying to repair. They're the one making the move now after the fight happened, losing that lane pressure. Bot lane's being pushed by Freeze right now, completely free, and Cloud9 may not get anything out of this as Hakuho throws the Glacial Fissure behind the Baron Pit.
Great ult to stop the Valkyrie on the chase there, and the betrayal at the start of the fight with Russia's cask knocks Crumbz towards the retreating balls, and Renegades is continuing to extend their lead right here. They burn one teleporting it up there, but they have two. Jensen didn't gain any pressure off that. Freeze is able to get more free farm on the side on Kog'Maw, and maybe now Cloud9 is going to try and make a play. High is in position. Teleport comes in to try and save, though. They're going to fight.
This is going to be Seraph this time. Already saw the teleport from Zilean come in. Freeze goes down, so they do get a TP out and Freeze down on that, all for that turret and a bit of the play previously.
Yeah, they get something back. They trade teleports.
Right.
But we're going to see this earlier fight again. Yeah, once again, Cloud9 not really accounting for the Zilean teleport. They don't have a way of fully stopping the channel. And honestly, Crumbz just gets enough damage on the balls that the 2v2 is going to be won by Cloud9 anyway, regardless of this teleport. But when the teleport begins to channel, it means he definitely has to run away. Poor cask by Rush just puts him right in range. I think balls would have lived. And then Rush doesn't even block the cocoon. Once he hit the Elise closer to him. Come on, man.
The things you wish you did when you watch it again. I could have done this. I had a potion. I could have shielded.
That's like one of those things Rush does in solo queue to troll his teammates. But unfortunately, he's doing it in LCS.
Not supposed to happen. A 3K gold lead now coming up for Renegades. It looks like they are able to continue pressuring this. Now, the idea is to not change what they're doing. Don't get in their own heads, think they're too powerful, and switch it up. Seraph in the side lanes here, drawing attention, has really been working for them. And it seems to be a key to the way the rest of the team can synergize and play. With that power, the rest of the four work really well together. And Seraph has kind of been the key to where they focus on the wins. Up top to Crumbz. This could also be a dead balls once again. The flash is down, getting in range for a bit of free damage for that cocoon. Whoa. Looks like they'll just start off with that. Where's the rest of the pressure on the map right now? And we can see Cloud9 is towards the bot lane fight. Rush hits Freeze back. He just came up. Kog'Maw goes back down. A Cathian surprise, if not the bomb, to take down Sneaky. And that does go to Freeze. Balls cannot get out of the situation in the top lane. And we're fighting from coast to coast as mid lane is being taken down by Jensen.
Yeah, a cross map 2-for-1 because they actually were able to trade a kill back when Sneaky used his package to get in on the fight. Despite the nice ultimate from Rush onto the Kog'Maw, he still got enough damage out. And Renegades is kind of continuing their pressure on. Graves and Elise are here.
Over the wall goes Ninja. He knows the team's going to be safe with Seraph coming in. They finalize the kill. Soul Shackle from high, but his soul will be shackled here in the final play. Winter's Bite, concussive blows. Ninja picks up another one. 2 deaths are only on Freeze right now. The rest of the team is piling on the stats and kills. Renegades are doing great. 17 minutes in.
Yeah, we may have a pretty big upset on our hands here. We have Cloud9 was needing to kind of play perfectly if they wanted a chance at a playoff bye because they're already a game behind COG, and COG has a pretty easy schedule, so not really expected to drop a game. But Cloud9 looking in danger to drop a game to Renegades right here, who are looking much improved after the late season trades and acquisitions of Ninja and Seraph.
See what went down in these plays once again. So, not enough vision up from Cloud9 here, and Sneaky. Oh, real hard.
He'd taken so much damage from Freeze as Rush was setting up the gank, and then even though the ultimate displaced him into death zone, it still got Sneaky very low. The bomb as well as the Acathian surprise, either one of them were going to secure the kill, so it's better that it goes towards Kog'Maw. And then from there, they couldn't even retreat all the way back up because the ring around the Rosie that was happening in the top lane trying to kill balls eventually led to a collapse from Crumbz and Seraph.
His first buy, dancing with death, Seraph in the top lane. 204, 103. Look at those scores. Something you do not usually see on the Renegades line, and they have not let that go whatsoever. Keeping in mind their win conditions, or win tuition, if you will, what they need to do to get it done. 172 to 146. We saw Freeze in the bot lane pushing all by himself, and that put him in a situation to take down Sneaky for the last fight. Just everything working in favor here of Renegades, as well as objective control. Another thing we usually see falling by the wayside for them. Now, controls in every lane. It's going to be Seraph to the mid now, 4 towards the top side. We'll see what they can produce with this play.
Yeah, and this is the siege we're going to see them set up. They have cocoons they can throw out into double bomb stuns. If one of those things land, they can get a whole bunch of damage down while Kog'Maw is able to free hit with his W. The danger is going to be Rush knocking them back with an ultimate, but he does not have his flash on the Gragas yet, or Jensen landing a good ultimate on Varus. Currently, it's a small 5v4 situation. Cloud9 would engage because Seraph was in the mid lane on Graves, but they can't pull the trigger early, and now they're completely behind on pressure.
Right, Seraph has kind of gone back and forth. He just put a ward in Raptor, got a good push on the lane, and then was in a spot he was a few seconds ago. But it seemed like the team discussed, this is the turret, we're not focusing the fight, get that push on middle. Now, that mid lane's actually just going to go to waste. Cloud9's trying to back and forth yo-yo this, making sure your Renegades leaves without taking anything, or leaves with a death.
Yeah.
Cloud9 may lose one here if they keep toying with danger. They're going to go back, start to clear the waves. And Renegades is just playing a game of cat and mouse here, in and out. It's working for him perfectly.
Renegades has been pretty high pressure here, and Cloud9 made some very overly aggressive, almost disrespectful moves against a team with double teleport early on in the game. And time again, Renegades was punishing with the teleports and then not making any of the blunderous calls that we've seen them so often make after they get an early lead in the mid game to lose the game. The last time I remember Renegades having a lead this big, actually, I think it was a TSM game. They had a 5,000 gold lead at 20 minutes. Then they made a very poor Baron call. But the longer they play in the season, hopefully the more they learn, because this is a game with this type of lead at 20 minutes. You should be able to close and win. So Renegades was going to have to play clean from here. And there's not too much Cloud9 can do other than capitalize on potential Renegades mistakes.
Yeah, hopefully they pile around the Baron and don't fight it for enough time to get poked out enough. I think they'll realize the situation before it even happens. Renegades just been playing really well this game, focusing a little bit on top lane to make sure balls of CS didn't mean much. Focusing a bit on Jensen, where teams have been missing out, making sure that he was actually hurt in the early game so he couldn't carry at this point in time. They actually hit all the pivotal points of where Cloud9 was being strong.
Yeah, power spikes that Cloud9 wanted to hit. Like you say, Renegades hit faster.
Yeah.
Sneaky wanted the Trinity Force power spike, but Kog'Maw completed this call, finished against whose Rage Blade, could match that just fine.
Yep.
Jensen had to build a Hex Drinker while he was still sitting on a tier, and that gave Ninja time to stack up his Rod of Ages. Just across the board, Renegades has been able to stay stronger with their power spikes, thanks to some nice early moves and the gold.
Ninja's just been a kind of a silent damager in this one. He shows up out of nowhere, doing good damage, 105. Definitely holding a great spot in the mid lane for his first game. 7-2, 22 minutes in now. We're looking at that 5.2 thousand gold lead here. Renegades still playing it safe, respecting the fact that if Cloud9 puts a few towards mid lane, they're not just going to go for that. I'm a liar. They might. They just might. Freeze is going to call me out.
A lot of people see Kog'Maw as a late game hyper carry. I think he's actually strongest in the mid game.
Okay.
Hurricane, Ginsu's Rage Blade with max W and more points in, I believe, your E that Freeze would have skilled up right now. Yeah, for the nice slowing zone of Voidoos. He can just walk up, press W, and no one can match him in damage at this point in the game, especially if Braum jumps in front of him for a shield to prevent the Gragas ult from knocking him back. So this is actually where Renegades wants to make a very strong push just straight up the mid lane and try and take an even bigger advantage of the game.
Look what's going to happen. They have 3 members out of base right now, looking at 2 in front. No minions just yet, though. They'll easily be able to get at least half damage on this turret, if not everything. Chain of Corruption comes out. They're looking. Cloud9 is really looking to protect this turret. They have put ultimates out already without enough people to fight. They're going to save it, and Renegades is actually going to be forced to back off here. Played it a little sketchy, but get themselves out safely.
I think sketchy is the right word for it with Freeze there. He was in relative safety after the stun had worn out on him, and he still kind of flash healed away. Which means that the push has to be completely abandoned, even though Cloud9 still saves the flash body slam engage potential from Rush. Uh-oh.
That happened backwards than I thought it would happen. Good guy, Ninja. Looking to make a play.
Sneaky with the 1v3, I think?
He did that in the bottom lane, too, against Freeze.
He caught them with the package, and now counter push from Cloud9.
Oh, real hard right now. Seraph gets caught. There's a bit of follow-up. I don't know if it's enough for a kill. Just a bit of constant DPS, not enough burst. And Cloud9, I think they feel like they're inside the head of Renegades. They know we can start pushing. We can get them. They're on the back foot, and they will use that small advantage here to get themselves the mid-turret open. hopefully open up that jungle as well.
Yeah, that 5,000 gold advantage doesn't mean as much when you're losing important cooldowns flashing away when you don't necessarily have to. This is kind of the experience differential between Renegades, who just acquired 2 new players, versus Cloud9, who have been kicking along pretty well all season. Little mini wins like that where Cloud9 can defend, wait for Renegades to overpush, and then respawn with the mid lane pressure of their own, will slowly creeping back into it.
Dragon number 2. That guy was alive for quite some time, to say. Nobody was really focused on him too much. Kind of tells you how the game's been rolling. Renegades really towards the top lane quite a bit, letting Seraph run the bottom, trying to run Cloud9 thin between all the lanes. And the first time Cloud9 gets the group, they make something happen there in the mid lane. Also was off Renegades a little too much of that pressure towards the second tier turret in mid. They got low, we saw the fight, Crumbz then got low. Kind of pans out from that one play. Renegades can't stop the bleeding if one small thing happens. Back to reset now. Still have that lead, still a pretty good lead, and an open map with a lot of Cloud9's turrets down, so a lot to work with.
Yeah.
Freeze cleaning up on the Raptors.
So fast. When he gets Blade of the Ruin King, now that he has his QSS, is when he's going to be at his absolute strongest. I feel like I said the 2-item power spike is huge, but the Blade of the Ruin King 3rd item really turns his damage to another level with how many attacks per second he can get off.
Yep.
For the percent health damage. The gold lead has shrunk a little bit though.
Yeah.
It was 5,000 earlier in the game, now it's 4,000 later in the game. So not only is it less in absolute terms,
right,
percentage terms, it's even less.
And Freeze is a big boy. 11K on him alone. That's just about 2 more than anybody on the side of a total gold of Cloud9. A lot of damage to work with. We have not seen it used in that right spot just yet. This may be where Cloud9, of what Sneaky said, this is where those tight mechanic plays come in, where they do the little things just a little bit better, and that's what counts.
And the mechanics are going to be so critical in these team fights. Will High be able to black shield the right target to stop a cocoon or a double bomb from getting the stun? How is Freeze going to be able to sit still to get his Kog'maw damage out? And will Rush be able to use his ultimate to knock him back or into the team, depending on what stage of the fight Kog'Maw's in? Or will Hakuho be able to block a Gragas ultimate so it can't knock someone backwards? Like, there are going to be some very critical team fights in this game, based on the way Cloud9 normally plays. Like, a lot of other teams are very pick-focused and they get the split push, but most of Cloud9's games are decided by these very skill-intensive team fights that High is able to force with his experienced shot caller.
Thinking of actually, once you said that, Hakuho, of how much he can actually block on this team, and he's married right now to Freeze. I was going to say that has to be a key situation in this. Just hopefully he points the shield the right way, because intense moments can happen or make that flaw happen.
Yeah.
Far Sight's regular sweeper, or sorry, upgraded sweepers out, and it looks like they are mirrored on that sense. So Cloud9 placing and sweeping a little bit more this game, since they really can't get what they want out of that brute force style of play. Pushing a few forward. Rush is actually going to get a ward over on that blue. They may actually want to taunt kind of Renegades over to this Baron and then say, let us poke you. Let us just poke you. Are you willing to do this? Because right now we just saw what engaged happened in that brush, and that means for the next few minutes, everybody's very aware, and that play fizzling out. It's going to calm things down for a second.
Jensen sitting with a lot of armor penetration now, with Maw and Ghostblade both completed. So his fully charged Qs are very potent poke against the Renegades team, who has no additional armor items. Not a single person has built bonus armor. So, like, this is prime time for flat penetration to work on Jensen's Varus.
Potent pokables. Okay.
Potent poke.
Potent pokables. 1,000 please. Haven't seen too much package play from Sneaky just yet. We have seen the Valkyries straight in.
Yeah.
But staying on the outside has just been more beneficial in this team comp so far, as they move towards the mid lane. A little bit of a tussle between Balls and Seraph towards that boss side. Doesn't look like too much damage, just the hidey-ho. They went their separate ways.
Yeah, it looks like, you know,
is this where Renegades doesn't pull the trigger?
It's been happening for the past 5 or 6 minutes. I think they had a decent power spike when they went to siege the mid lane, but that didn't go well, and it's kind of scared them off of pulling off another attempted play, but...
Is it? No. That was like the bait. That's the bait. You know that's a bait, but you still get caught by the bait. Okay, he didn't get caught. He's all right. Maybe. No, he gets down. Finally, Ninja cancels that out. Chain of Corruption is going around. The damage has been done. It's just about the crowd control now. There it is. He got it. Timed it. He has the ult. Went down, and so does Ninja. Teleport is up, but it's 40 seconds on the clock, and Renegades have to reset.
Yeah, and that was a 5v4, so Balls is pushing down bottom lane with a Titanic Hydra. That's going to have to be matched eventually, but they're going for the stun on Sneaky.
That's the hit. Oh, just outside of Cocoon range. Jensen trying to fire back as well. It's going to be Seraph who has to respect the push from Balls. He goes back to bot lane, so Renegades loses power in mid. They're still being chased down. It looks like Jensen is going to go a little hard on this one, but he'll stay safe.
It's about this time the game gets very exciting, Riv. We have a Mana Mune converted to a more mana for Jensen, so he's hit his power spike. Renegades is floundering a little bit. They saw the opportunity to go on to high, which, to be fair, this is a good opportunity. Double stun into all the CC, but they have all their crowd control dudes here. They don't necessarily have their damage dealers. Kog'Maw's off, Braves is off, so they can't completely burst him down. Ninja flashes in to get the stun, and that exposes him. He gets rooted by the tendrils of the Varus ultimate, and then the Chrono Shift is timing off. Right as the ultimate is, and we're fighting again.
Oh, Rush first. Rush goes down. That ultimate is hit. Jensen's down once again from that fight, so it went pretty hard in the beginning there, but it looks like Renegades has come out on top of this one. Still have to respect very much Balls on that front line, since we talked about it before, not too much of a tanky member status on the side of Renegades at this point. Hakuho can only do so much.
Yeah, I think what happened there, even though we didn't get to see it, was Rush was a little bit too close, got hit by a Braum Q, and when Kog'Maw presses W on a target as Braum Q, it's basically an instant stun. Then they bursted Rush down. Now it's a 5v4, so Renegades should be able to pick up Dragon number 3.
Some touch and go moments for Renegades. They have lost a bit, but still keep about a 3.5 thousand gold lead. Hasn't really gone into that just yet. They have been up to 5, but can't seem to pressure past this inner ring of turrets. Top lane still up, a possibility, so they can use this composition to get around that. Going a little bit harder with maybe Elise and Braum. But as of now, kind of just time for Cloud9 to build themselves up here, as you were talking about the items being created.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of items, I was thinking that Seraph was going to do the Death's Dance build. A lot of time that actually has a Phantom Dancer. Later in on it, you get faster reloads. It feels very fluid. It takes the reload down from like 2.1 seconds to 1.6 seconds, which works really well with spells being used in between your reload timers. But instead, Seraph's going straight for a Bloodthirster, so kind of like even more just brute force lifesteal. And these team fights may be never-ending story in this game. Balls coming up from the lane. Haven't seen too many big brawly ones, but the teams are constantly posturing for.
You can hear Cloud9 when fights like that start, like, no. Okay, we're good. We have distance. Fire back again. They just want to keep that 10, 20 feet in between them and Renegades at all times. I don't know what that is in pixels. 10, 20 T-Mos. There you go. It's about it's the measurement. 1 T-Mo.
It's close.
1 space. A little more love towards Vision on the Baron, but it's really gone back and forth between mid and Baron. Mid and Baron. The laning phase is kind of stopped here. Just walking back. Well, laning phase has stopped. Going for turrets has stopped, I should say.
Yeah.
Just a lot of back and forth.
It's actually Cloud9's pressure advantage right here. They don't have the dragon, so they're going to be forcing a dragon to fight a lot of the time. Yeah. But if you look at the way the map is warded, Renegades is pushed back. They don't have any deep ward control. But they are speeding up that Kog'Maw. Woo.
All right. He uses cleanse. Quicksilver Sash is out. Seraph over to the pillar now, and it's the back and forth. This is the Cloud9 fight that they want. They're getting the poke in. Their health bars definitely a lot better off right now than what Renegades is facing. Hakuho tries to throw the Winter's Bite back. Balls goes in for the pillar. That's going to slow the team down, and Cloud9 well pushing forward, still keeping that same distance. That doesn't mean go in, fight the whole fight. It means go in and keep tagging them. A lot of the major damage dealers on Renegades were the ones that took damage, so Renegades had to back up since they really couldn't bring the pain. But there are jungle monsters up. Freeze lifestyle. Seraph is actually recalling
to get the majority of his health back. But Renegades is still up there. There's
Here
not
we
even
go.
a teleport on Seraph. They're being really risky right here.
This is the yo-yo game, back and forth. Glacial Fisher goes out, 3 points right through the middle. It looks like they are gonna back out of this one, 9-3. Not too much coming out of that one. High still pretty hurt on the backside, and it looks like everybody's taking a breather on this one. Cloud9.
Woo. High goes down to 140 health from that collateral damage that Seraph tried to execute him with. Woo. Touch and go. These are touch and go fights.
Just a little bit. Renegades has definitely kind of met a wall in the middle of this game with where they needed to go. They had that push on mid lane that kind of scared them off of everything. Cloud9 seemed to get such a big hold on the mentality, not even the game, the mentality of Renegades after they got pushed off the second tier in mid. It's been interesting since then. Both teams really scrapping in these fights to get 1 or 2 kills, and usually somebody's walking out with the sliver of health and nobody goes down. 3 dragons still to Renegades. Could be an option if they can't find a way in. 2 more dragons to go.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while.
I mean, with the way these fights are touch and go, we could very easily see a fight before then. And Renegades is just going for the Baron. Ball's teleporting from the back. Yeah, they can't finish that.
It was exciting for them, though.
It was surprising because that would have been really bad if they tried to finish that Baron. They do get the teleport out for balls, though.
Scuttle fight. All right, here comes Ball.
Whoa.
Throws down the wasteland. Ninja very, very low. There's a chrono shift. He's back up. Focus on the balls. They can't do too much to him, so it's kind of a maybe, maybe not. Now the focus on the High. He flashes out for the focus and the damage, which of the cooldowns is what Renegades is waiting for, and they have to pull out. High very good at doing that and absorbing a lot of damage when he's not even a tank. A lot of people on Cloud9 just did the same. But again, no kills.
Yeah, we are pushing the outer limits of how much damage can be dealt in a team fight with no one dying. The damage to kill ratio is way out of whack this game. Oh boy.
Oh!
He missed the missile, so he's real fast.
Oh!
There we go, you're dead.
All right, everything slowed down a bit. Healed, he's summoner healed as well. You're only gonna get so much out of that play, but I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. You want to do as much as you can.
He returned a bunch of damage onto Ninja, who he knew had his chrono shift down, so I think he was going for the return kill.
Oh, if he was in, yeah.
Someone's still tracking that up in the top lane. High actually interrupted the recall in the brush. Oh dear.
Spooky hit Seraph. The chase potential may have just been low. Whoa! Over the wall goes Crumbz, and it looks like he's going to have to repel out of this one. Not enough damage right away to take them, and Jensen fires back to get himself a kill onto Crumbz, who went headstrong into that.
Every fight is just countered with another fight. Sneaky was down. It looked like a 4v5. Cloud9 continued the aggression. Crumbz tried to turn it around, flashing over the wall to get a Rylai slowing everyone with the volatile spider. And then it was just Jensen that got the final bit of poke down. It's a very high action 14 kill game, I have to say.
I'd love to see the damage at the end of the game compared to something else.
Sweeper ran out for Rush.
It's all right. It's like most of the kills. Almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
Story of the game. This is big, though. Crumbz is dead. One of the ways we thought Renegades could have a win condition is just forcing Cloud9 in, but if they get this dragon, that delays the game by about 6 minutes. That's theirs.
So Cloud9 putting a little wrench in the works of Renegades. It will not be as easy to finish out the game in that sense now. Maybe back to these turrets, trying to push Cloud9 off the turret. They're always giving them that distance. If they can get them far enough back off something like the top turret, you have that engage in the open space, but it's tough. Cloud9, like they said, very good now in these mechanical portions of the game. There we go, ward cleared out. Back to a breather. Looking at CS around the board, it's almost 400 for Freeze here. You can see what his focus has been. Yeah. Absolutely crazy if he actually gets a moment to stand still in the game.
It's really been tricky for him, though. With all the poke that Cloud9 throws out, it's very hard for him to get in the position where he can stand still and do damage. Cloud9's played around that very well. Yeah. We keep seeing when Renegades is trying to engage these fights, Ninja's speeding the Kog'Maw up, and he's running in, kind of like you would try with the Juggermaw. But Zilean is not Lulu, so when he runs in, he's not shielded. So he's running in to get a few hits off. Yeah. He gets hit by a Corki missile and a Varus Q, and he goes down to 40% health, and he has to back away. So it's really not working the way they had envisioned.
Hakuho trying to speed up, but takes one missile. Corki to the face, the yo-yo once again, back and forth. And it looks like it's only enough time to give minion wave to come back in. So nothing in the side lanes now. It's all about 5 in the mid. Teleport's gonna be up for balls, but he's still gonna be hanging with the team for now. That's a lockup. That does not help Hakuho whatsoever for that pillar to be behind the turret. It takes him down. An unfortunate event for him, and a nice hit for balls there to lock down that path.
Cloud9 is crushing the poke game right now, and I'm really kind of surprised that Renegades has abandoned the split push so much. They have the Bloodthirster lifesteal stacking Seraph, who would win an extended trade against balls in a split push, and they have the double TP advantage, which is how they got their advantage in the early game by collapsing. But now they're grouping up, and 5v5 is strong when they are together. So here we go, Baron Force 4v5.
Crumbz is there, the 50-50, he goes up, he comes down, it's going to rush. The smite is in, very, very low health for High. He's gonna go down, Sneaky needs to get away as well. Kog'maw bringing up big damage, the burn won't take him down. A triple kill there, and 2 members of Cloud9 get out with Baron, and Balls has one of those, which is huge for the side lane.
Yeah, but 3 members don't get out at all, and Renegades can now push strong with 4 people onto this wave. Seraph's at full health. Freeze can lifesteal a little bit.
Very true.
Let's see how much they get done. Those death timers are still 40 seconds long for 2 people.
This could be all the way into that inhibitor turret. They're on the balls. They need to at least keep it onto him. A very big member of the team. He's going to go down, and they lose another Baron, now only on Rush. This is going to be an inhibitor turret. They're going to have a minion, but they have the damage to do it. No worry. That goes down.
Oh, no.
And the inhibitor. What a play. Cloud9 to go for Baron, and the door to the base gets kicked down.
Woo, yeah, finally Freeze found a fight where he was able to actually hit people. They weren't able to disengage because Cloud9 backed themselves up into a corner by doing that Baron. And then when Renegades collapsed, they had no way of running away from the Kog'Maw. They can rush the Baron down. This is incredibly risky. It's reckless, really, because it could have been stolen. The Baron could have been stolen. If that happens, then, Renegades probably actually ends the game with the Baron minion wave in the top lane, because Freeze could flash into position, get the triple kill close, and then they were almost able to chain down more people after that. If that Baron was stolen, I think the game might actually end it.
That was ridiculous.
The negative 1,500 Baron power play. The dream.
It happens.
Yeah.
So the Baron power play, when you're gaining gold after getting Baron, it seemed to have not happened that time. And Freeze, he didn't really even have that much protection. He just stood still for a second and a half. And 3 members of Cloud9 had to turn away immediately. You saw the damage come out. Picked up all those, almost basically the solo to 3 kill as they move on to the, oh, they already grabbed the mid. Off the cuff on that one, so now they can decide to split these lanes and do what they want heading in now. Still have to be careful. Cloud9 can be even stronger once they're at the front of their base. Can pop you up back behind a wall, still poke from behind the walls. So Renegade still has their work cut out for him.
Yeah, game definitely far from over. We've even seen his Zeke's Herald onto Crumbz' Elise, probably trying to give some crit chance to Freeze's Kog'Maw. May as well, I suppose. It's not the first time Crumbz has built the Zeeks. He could also be trying to give crit to Seraph.
It's not Freeze, yep.
Yeah, if Graves crits, but he's obviously linked to Freeze right now, so it pops. A little Kog'Maw crit.
Oh, they use it too. That was great. He said, hey, it's on. Why not? We got like 1 more second. Speed me up. Enough to take Sneaky out for a second. He flies back. He'll be coming back in.
Flashes up on Rush's Gragas, so I'd expect him to go if they're going to try anything. Maybe now with the binding landed? No.
Almost expect to see that Black Shield go on to Rush and then him fly in.
A really difficult situation because the super minions are having to be cleared away up top by Sneaky, so Rush did not want to follow up on that Dark Binding because they would have opted into a 4v5. You can see these turrets, though. Seraph on one side, rest of Renegades on the other. And the third lane's getting pushed by super minions.
They're just equally getting poked on. It's like you shoot the right one, the left one takes just as much damage. So how can you even defend that? And it's going down very, very quickly. Seraph here just a toy with them. The team will back up for a moment here. They know they can come in and probably make this a final push. So why not do it that way? Why stretch themselves thin now?
Yeah, that's the hope for Renegades when they come back. But by that time, the inhibitor will be very close to respawning. And if they recall, which they have recalled into Zilean, he's teleporting right back in. This is smart by Renegades. They cannot relent the pressure because they have to make this next push while someone on Cloud9 is killing off super minions in one lane. If they stop for too long, they're going to give it away, and they actually decide to do Dragon
number 4.
I actually am not a huge fan of this call.
Definitely a bit of lack of confidence, but saying we have a for sure way. But actually, it may not be a for sure way with the way that Cloud9 has been kind of taking these fights. The only reason Renegades got in past the point in that mid game was the Baron call, right? So if Cloud9 goes back to those regular fights, it may continue to turn out the way it was before for them.
Give a little bit of time for that inhibitor to respawn. It's about halfway back up already. Now with recall time is coming from Renegades, it's hard to imagine them setting up that siege the same way again.
Yeah.
So that probably pushes the game towards another Baron before they can set up a siege or a Dragon 5. We got a doozy.
Yeah, this one took off. I like it.
This is not what you expected when you're like, oh yeah, Cloud9, they're really hot. Renegades, bunch of roster changes. They're not trying to win in the LCS, just trying to get better before the promotion tournament. I mean, they are 2-12. We have to remember. This is a massive upset.
You know what?
Renegades can close.
Ninja and Seraph don't feel like they're 2-12.
Seraph has been great in the LCS so far this year.
He really has.
He's not that good with TDK and Challenger, but whenever he's on stage, it's the LCS buff.
306, once again, doing really well in a game. 6-3-6 in his last Graves play. See if he'll be the one to backdoor the Nexus. Once again, a chain of corruption just for the W.
Oh, they get
Jensen, that's Ninja going down. They're gonna flash forward. There's the hit. Hakuho very low. Crumbz has to flash out. Hakuho then gets himself out with the McHale's. He'll be safe. They're gonna try to go back in.
Seraph killed the mid lane turret while that was happening. He is such a pain for Cloud9 right now. They get a pick kill on a Ninja, but they cannot continue the chase because Seraph would have probably just continued to push and kill 2 inhibitors.
He just knows how to get under your skin. He knows what to be doing at the right time. And the rest of Renegades as well is a part of that. Being able to throw that mass, that 4 people to the bot lane, get a decent fight. Probably didn't want to fight that much, but once they can get that every time, they can get themselves into the base. It's a little bit slower of a way. You're losing people in your engages, but it's slowly working for them.
Still really dangerous. I mean,
it is, very.
Rush burned his flash there to try and follow up on the engagement. If more people on Renegades would have died while Seraph was pushing, then Cloud9 would have had a window to push in and maybe take an inhibitor. But they were not able to, so Seraph's gamble played off. Still the only deathless person in the game playing so clean on this Graves. And Baron will be up shortly. I wonder if Cloud9 just goes for it again. Or if they just try and get a pick around that area. The nice thing now is they don't, the super minions have stopped. So they can technically do a poke in the mid lane. Oh, here we go. Trundle's not there though.
They just burned Chain of Corruption onto Hakuho. Looking to see if they could hit him down, but the shield blocked way too much of that damage. They're gonna be backing up now. Soul Shackles was used onto Crumbz. That's down. Ninja feels like he can go in. He's going to throw the ult out just before he goes down. That got the Gragas ult out as well. Sneaky's already used Subjugate. Guardian Angel onto him. Sorry, Balls. Rather, not Sneaky. He'll go down. He'll be back up and be the focus. Flashes out. Cloud9 now kind of fighting on a thread here, and it's a very small one. Jensen, that's the cleanse. I don't even know. They may still have something else to get themselves out, but it has been a very scary fight, and they don't chance it.
And guess what? Everybody's still alive with the GAs and the Zilean ultimates coming up.
Magicians.
Oh my God, but they're so low now, and it's all about the pressure differential and what major cooldowns are burned. So the Zilean ultimate is actually back up already here. Did he? Yeah, because he definitely used it and revived during that fight.
He did, right in the middle
Teleport
of it.
coming in for Balls with the home guards. They might be going on to Baron because Renegades is late on their recalls. They'd have the opportunity to
There's another recall. He just stopped Ninja from getting out. So Ninja will be slow to come back on this one. He
like
won't even try. Ninja's not even going to try. He's sticking with the team. He does have the ultimate
Jensen,
back up.
You're taking a lot of damage, Jensen.
Oh, the fight's down. Do they know it's actually happening still? Crumbz up. Crumbz should stay alive here if somebody can get in front of him. No! Hakuho got stunned up. He couldn't move to help Crumbz. That's 2 down, and Renegades trying to force a fight when they were 2 spread out may have been the kicker.
Yeah, and now it's a 5v3, but the damage dealers of Renegades are alive. Would Seraph do anything?
No, he didn't.
No, Cloud9's going to get the Baron.
Oh my gosh.
There's technically their second Baron of the game. Pulls the gold even closer. Oh boy. Yeah, so this was so distracting because the Varus was still hard on the Baron, so Crumbz was thinking they're going to try and kill it. Meanwhile, the rest of Cloud9 was laying a trap. Also, Ninja has his Zilean ultimate this whole time, so like technically he could have used it on Elise, but I don't think he wanted to trap himself in a fight there anyway, so he's just going to save the Zilean ultimate for later. Did he sell an item for that Spectre's Cow? Or does he always have it?
Just wow.
He's always had it, okay.
Cloud9 holding on for dear life that mid game. Continuing with an inhib going down, an inhib turret falling, and the bot one maybe has a quarter health. They are now tearing down mid lane here. A little respect to Renegades as they do get 5 members joined now towards that second tier turret that just dropped, but a little bit better Baron power play this time around.
Yeah, definitely. And at this point in the game, any fight will end it. Almost no matter where it happens on the map, if one team loses a bunch of people, they're going to have enough time to push down the other side and end the game. 5th Dragon technically coming up in 10 seconds, but that is nowhere on Cloud9's radar because they're going for that inhibitor.
Renegades outside their base, pushing Cloud9 in. They're looking to pinch them. The trick pinch.
The base gate.
Haku, or Ball's rather, very, very big. Rush is there, doesn't have the ultimate, just trying to kind of be a nuisance. Stay there, be a meat wall for the team. And they do have to respect that Freeze has approached the fight now. Good hits by C9, knowing also when to be in and out on this play.
Freeze took a lot of damage, and the team needs to let him lifesteal here. They're double bombing the wave to try and push it faster, but really Freeze needed to hit that. While Cloud9 is denying the 5th Dragon, Renegades is, I thought they were going to push mid, but they're actually coming around the side, maybe looking for a fight? Weird shot calling this whole time from Renegades, right? From the time they had the 5,000 gold lead at 20 minutes, they haven't been able to close, and slowly Cloud9's coming back.
I just knew it. As soon as Balls got here, they were going to go for something. Pillar goes out. If they don't have the channel they want, they won't take it. They start backing off to size up the fight. Wards are down, but sweepers being used to deny that vision. Those are going to wear off. Everybody has a good idea of the grand picture now, and they will not continue the fight. Rush very low. They want to get him back. They want to get high backed as well and get some mana in there. No one dies again. 14-8, and the gold is completely even in this game now. 51 minutes in.
Hey, they did it. They came back. Now it's anybody's game. Technically, it is trending in Cloud9's direction ever since 20 minutes because they have been slowly coming back. But they have lost so many structures, 2 exposed inhibitors. So if Seraph ever sneaks in the backside somewhere, he'll be able to clean them up. But in doing that, he would expose the team to a brute force push from Cloud9. So I think we're just going to keep seeing more and more of these poke-focused team fights. Everyone is looking towards max items. We got Zeke's on both teams. What is that? 2 Thornmails on Cloud9 as well. Max item junglers. The only one, Crumbz hasn't completed his final Warden's Mail. It's probably a Randwin's.
See the elixirs are out. High is at the elixir of sorcery there. So he's out getting that last bit of gold in. Boot upgrades pretty much around the board. Pure boots over there for Freeze, very nice.
Yeah, I feel like Freeze was hit max items so long ago that the itemization is actually favoring Cloud9 a little bit because you can see, you know, a lone QSS on Seraph, Warden's Mail on Crumbz, Spectre's Cow on Ninja. Those aren't completed items, but C9 has the completed items on everyone. It's because the overall gold distribution is more balanced on Cloud9, whereas Freeze has a lot of gold that is going towards nothing. He's got a lot of excess gold in his inventory.
All right.
Cloud9 is ahead in inventory though.
Cloud9, second time approaching Renegade's base. The first time it happened, they got an inhib. Second time they're being staved off a little bit. Now grab the gold lead here and are just waiting to take down that turret. I'm sure once Jensen and Sneaky get their hands on it, a few shots, it'll be going down quite fast. Almost taking down Seraph right away. He's a big damage dealer in this fight and needs to be able to stand tall. Even with lifesteal, he's going to have to go back to the base first. Home guards are up. Should be able to be back in time.
Oh, so much poke. This is exactly what Cloud9 wanted 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. You get the other team at the turret, not the other way around. Literally playing that dancing game that Sneaky was talking about. Getting Renegades who are in their position. They want them. Another inhibitor goes down without losing a member. And Cloud9's going to walk away.
Yep, 2 inhibitors down. That was a siege done even without Baron. So Ninja could not even get double bombs down to clear the minion waves in time. even with the wave clear of Graves. The poke was that overpowering that they're able to get the wave clearers low so they couldn't wave clear. And then Cloud9 closed in pretty solid for their second inhibitor. Not willing to call it yet, based on the way the game's gone.
Nope.
But it's really looking favorable for Cloud9 here.
Freeze has to have a good fight here. Mercurial Scimitar looks like it's being built up by Seraph, so he actually stands to get a little bit more damage in that build for himself. And selling boots beyond that if he really wants to.
Yeah, he still doesn't have enough for it, though. I mean, he's got 19,000 gold for the game. Because of the Death Dance and Bloodthirster, his inventory is very expensive. Meanwhile, you got Freeze, who's farmed 24,000 gold, highest in the game by far, but he's got 2,500 unspent gold.
Yeah. Sneaky full build, or rather, I keep calling Balls Sneaky. Don't know why. GG day. Balls full build for quite a while. Got that Guardian Angel a few fights ago. We actually saw him having that. See if that comes into play. He's trying to create a little ninja effect for someone on the team. And this should be all right. Cloud9 again going to go for the stranglehold here with the poke.
And this is great for Cloud9. They have the strong poke. Renegades has not the tools to get really solid team fights. The Black Shield and the Disengage can be strong enough. So Cloud9 would just set up shop here. Although, when a double bomb hits Sneaky, that will also stop the push. And the mid lane inhibitor had respawned, meaning the push isn't as devastating as having two waves of super minions coming in. Maybe this just delays for another Baron Force. Baron 3.
A lot of the time, Renegades only finds balls. When they go in here, they find Rush. It's a lot of tank that they go for, and they can't do anything about it. He just throws up a pillar. Gragas just throws out a barrel, slows him down, and Cloud9 has the kite they want for the fights. Going to be making themselves out now. They will be perfectly fine. Again on the Baron. This one will be theirs.
This will be the fight, though, actually. They're going to want it, but this could be the game-deciding fight. They get the Baron. Renegades is here.
Super minions in the base. Chain of Corruption goes out, locks down basically the entire team. Crumbz forced to flash. He gets a flash over the wall from Jensen. Goes down, and Rush trying to focus the fight now. A great Black Shield in. They're going to peel off. They're going to say, let's get the minions down. We have enough to keep going. Forget the fight. We'll get to base.
Yeah, with Crumbz down and the exposed inhibitors, they could not get the proper fight.
Yep.
They needed to pile in there. I'm actually kind of surprised Balls just didn't teleport straight near the back end of that fight and go to end the game, because the window was there. So one hit away on that Nexus turret. Cloud9 knows Crumbz is down.
Wow.
They're rushing in. They're going to try and end it here.
40 seconds on Elise. One hit towards the Nexus turret. Hakuho, the shield of shields to block everything, but it falls quite quickly. That's going to be the fight going in onto Freeze. Freeze going down. He keeps himself alive. Keeps himself back to the fountain, and the Nexus in the eyes of Sneaky. He's putting damage on it. Cloud9 coming back in this one with 100K in the bank. Cloud9 takes